All right, good afternoon. And now we're going to continue the Maamar of the Rebbe, the Maamar al Kein, from 1953. And this is part 4. We're holding in Ois Hey, chapter 5 of the Maamar. So we learned until now, we explained the name of Purim. Why is it called Purim? And the Megillah says because of the poor, because of the lottery. And we asked the question, what's so special about the lottery? After all, the lottery that Haman did was about the destruction, the annihilation of the Jewish people. So why do we name the holiday on the Purim? And we explained the whole thing, that really the concept of the lottery refers to a very high spiritual level. Meaning, the things that we do logically, and the things that we do that go beyond logic. A lottery is something that you do goes beyond logic. And the Rebbe connected also, Rebbe explained that we have something similar about Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur will also have a concept of a lottery, and that is the lot that was cast between on the two goats. So the Rebbe explained that these two things, Purim and Yom Kippur, are connected, and they also sound similar. Purim, Yom Kippur is Purim, like Purim, which means that Purim is on a very high level, even higher than Yom Kippur. And we explained that both have the concept of the lottery, and both also we find that they both are connected with the level which goes beyond and above the name of God. Yom Kippur says, Lifnei Hashem titaru, you will be purified before Hashem, which means also higher than the name of Hashem. And also Purim, the fact that the name of God is not mentioned in the Megillah, in the scroll of Esther, which tells the story of Purim, has the deeper meaning, which is the fact that Hashem is there in a hidden way, meaning the revelation of God in Purim was a revelation which goes beyond the name of Hashem, very high level. And that is connected with the concept of the lottery. So basically what the Rebbe is saying here is that the whole idea of the raffle, the lottery that Haman casted, is connected with reaching out into a higher level. So now in this chapter 5, in Ois Hey, the Rebbe is asking, if that is the case, then what was Haman thinking? In other words, we're saying is that Haman, he was casting the lottery. He was deciding when to annihilate the Jews. And he was happy because it was other. Apparently, it's connected with the fact that Haman knew those things. He knew about Moshe Rabbeinu, knew about the spiritual powers that these men have. So, seemingly, he knew also the idea of what is the level of goyrel, the level of lottery, which is something which goes beyond logic. And as we explained yesterday, it goes beyond the will of Hashem. We're talking about the will is above logic, but the lottery also is above the will. And that refers to the Baal Ratzon, the master of the will, Hashem himself. So if Haman wanted to destroy the Jewish people, how come he gave us, by him casting the lottery, we just said, it connected us with the concept of lottery, which is above Hashem, above the name of Hashem. So if he wanted to destroy the Jewish people, how come he allowed it himself that we should have the lottery, that we should reach such a high level? That's the question the Rebbe is asking, and let's see inside. There's the Rebbe, but tzorich lovin further clarification, however, is necessary. The lefia now, shalidei apuru agoyrel, hu amshachas oirin soiv ba'alarotzen, according to the above explanation, that through the poor, through the lottery, divine energy was drawn forth from God's infinite light, the level of the master of the will, as we said before. As a result, atonement was granted for all the undesirable acts committed by the Jewish people. Like we said yesterday, that what brings atonement is when we reach to the level of Hashem, which is above the name of Hashem, which means whatever, it's such a high level that whatever we do doesn't really affect there. So the question then is, what then was the intent of Haman the wicked? What was he thinking? Casting the lot, through his casting the lot, we reach such a high level. Yehudim, who sought to denounce the Jews. So what was his thinking? Lahapil pur hu agirl. In casting the poor, the lot, Haman was aware of the mystic consequences of this conduct. He was aware of that. Why did he perform an act that drew down such a positive divine energy? After all, he was the enemy. So that's one question. Another question the Rebbe asked, why does the Megillah say that we called this holiday Purim al Shem HaPur, named after the Pur? The Pur means the definite. He's talking about a certain Pur that we know. Which Pur? Haman's Pur. His Pur, his lot, was about destroying the Jewish people. So why name the Purim not just based on a Pur, some goyrel, some lottery? Why do we name it after the Pur? That's the question. Explanation is also necessary regarding the verse. For this reason, these days were called Purim in commemoration of the lot. The hapur behei ayediyah. The word hapur, the lot, the hey in the word indicates a definite article, which means this refers to the lot mentioned previously, which is the lot cast by Haman. Now, the lot that casted by Haman was obviously something undesirable. So why then are these days called Purim, to recall that lot? Why name a holiday after the tool that Haman employed in his attempt to bring about the Jews' annihilation? The Rebbe is going to answer. The answer that the Rebbe gives is going to say it outside and going to read it inside. What the Rebbe is going to say is that what Haman figured, he wants to reach on a very, very, very high level. Why? He says he figured there is the Seder HaHishtalshelus. What is the Seder HaHishtalshelus? This is the chain-like structure of existence. Hashem brought this world into existence. And the way God brought this world into existence is through the chain-like structure. There's the higher level, the lower level, there is the emotional, there is the intellectual faculties, the emotional faculties, the different worlds, the filtering of God's energy all the way down to until this world was created. Now, in this Seder HaHishtalshelus, in this chain-like structure of existence, whatever we do has an effect. And when we do something wrong, it has an effect. And if we do mitzvos has an effect. The God's commandments has an effect and brings down blessings. However, when we reach to the level of the essence of Hashem, which is above, there, whatever we do really doesn't change. Hashem is beyond and above this structure of existence. Like it says, if you sin, what effect did you have? You think you have an effect on Hashem? So in the lower levels, it does have an effect, but in the higher levels, it doesn't have an effect. So Haman was thinking that he's going to reach to the highest levels where Jews and non-Jews, darkness and light is all the same. And he figured if he's going to arouse this level, there he's going to be able to have a decree against the Jewish people. Because in that level, darkness and light is all the same. Good and bad is all the same. That's what Haman Rosh figured. That's why he did the lot. That's why he did the raffle, the lottery. That's what the Rebbe explains. The core of explanation is from the standpoint of Seder HaHishtalshelus, the chain-like structure of existence. Since on this level, God established a pattern and a structure for all beings. And according to that framework, the actions of the created being on this lowly plane are significant. The actions are significant. And therefore, being that the actions is significant, God's outpouring of energy is directed primarily to the Jewish people. Why? Because the Jewish people observe the Torah mitzvos. So therefore, the scales of divine judgment dictate, as it were, that he shower his blessing upon them. So when he showers the blessing upon them, upon the Jewish people, so it's not only those who are great, righteous, even people who are not. Why? Because ultimately, every single Jew has some mitzvahs. And as a matter of fact, it says even the lowest of the Jews, they're filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate is filled with seeds. Even those who are the opposite of righteous. See, the Rebbe very careful, doesn't like to use the negative words. So he says opposite of righteous. Even those that are hepech tzadikim, heim elaim mitzvahs kirimayim, they are filled with mitzvahs as a pomegranate is filled with seeds. So therefore, they are worthy of divine blessing, even though they transgress his will at times. Even though those Jews do not always do the mitzvahs, still they have mitzvahs, and therefore they are protected. This can be inferred from the verse, look down from your holy abode, from heaven, and bless your people Israel. This is a verse in the Torah. From the standpoint of heaven, the blessing comes from heaven. Heaven in Hebrew is shamayim. Shamayim, make our sages say, they make the word sham, mayim. There is water. Shamayim is sham, mayim, which means water is there. What is water? We're talking about heaven, we're talking about the water. What is the water? Water refers to the level of chachma. Water refers to mayim, chachma, water refers to wisdom, and more particularly the wisdom of Torah. Reishis HaHishtalshelus, the beginning of the structure of the Seder HaHishtalshelus. So the beginning of the structure of the chain-like descent is water, which is the chachma, the wisdom of Torah. And from there is the blessings. This is the source of blessings. The outpouring of divine blessing should be directed to the Jewish people. And that's what the idea is. The Torah says, look down from your abode, from Shamayim, from the place of the source of the blessing, the water, which is the Torah. Bless your people, Israel. And the word Amcha, also the nation, which means the people of Israel, the word Amcha comes also from the word Omemot. Omemot means the coals that are dim, very dim. That alludes to those people, those Jews, that the light in them is very, very dim, very small. That means that they don't have that many mitzvahs. Even them, the Torah says, Hashem will bless them. And that's what Haman and Rasha was afraid of. And that's what Haman and Rasha was afraid of. He was afraid that their Jews are protected because of the Torah. וכיוון שגם Haman הראש ידע של אחיקו לקטרוגים שקטרג על ישראל, אין שום דמיון בינו ובין ישראל. Even Haman, the wicked, knew that despite all of the accusations that he would level against the Jewish people, from the standpoint of the Torah's wisdom, there is no comparison between him and the Jewish people. He knew that, because he knew that the Jewish people, even the lowest of them, have some mitzvahs, and they are protected. Shelochein, therefore, mitzad adage de HaHishtalshelus ein shayach she'aman harasha yenatzeach chas v'shalom es Yisrael. Therefore, according to the paradigm that prevails on the level of the Seder HaHishtalshelus, and that level of the structure of the chain-like descent, there is no possibility of Haman the wicked prevailing, heaven forbid, over the Jewish people. Why? Because even the lowly ones among them are filled with mitzvahs, as a pomegranate is filled with seeds. Therefore, that is why he made a goyrel. Therefore, he cast the poor a lot, meaning that he wished to access a level of godliness above the structure that defined the Seder HaHishtalshelus. He wanted to reach a level of godliness which dark, good and bad is all the same there. Since on the level of godliness that transcends the Seder HaHishtalshelus, the level identified with the lottery, there, in that level, the actions of the created beings on this lowly plane are not significant. All are equal there in that level. Darkness is like light. In that level, if you do a mitzvah, doesn't affect. If you do a sin, doesn't affect. That is why, that's what Haman's thinking. That's why Haman thought, he thought that by accessing the rung of the lottery, which transcends the Seder HaHishtalshelus, there would be a possibility for him to prevail, God forbid, over the Jewish people. That's what he thought. So this is the end of this this chapter. Later on, of course, the Rebbe is going to explain that Haman made a mistake. He thought that this was his thinking, that reaching the level of goyro, the level of lottery, there is no difference between good and bad, and therefore he thought he would be able to win the Jewish people on that level. So we will continue Bezrat Hashem tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.